If you're running paid ads for your e-commerce brand, but your return on ad spend keeps getting lower and lower and lower when you try to spend more money, then this video is for you. Because I'm going to show you how you can fix this today, then what you need to do in the short term, and finally what you need to do in the long term so that you never get into this position again. So let's start with what you can do immediately today after watching this video. So number one is really to kill bad ads. And this sounds super simple and stupid and obvious, but I have this situation all the time, right? Just this week, I had a situation with a brand that is doing like between 200 and 300K a month currently. And they were seeing that their return on ad spend over the last 2 weeks was getting lower, right? While we were increasing the budgets. So I was investigating, and this is literally my checklist, right? So I'm giving you my exact checklist. So the first thing that I looked at, okay, do we have any ads that we're spending money on that are not performing to our standards, meaning they're not hitting our target CPA, right? So then I found an ad set that spent like $600 in the last 7 days and basically had no conversions, right? So this is just bad spend, right? And if you accumulate all of these little decisions that were not made, or where just like an ad was just, left there instead of turning it off, if you add all of these things up, this is pretty significant, right? So, and especially you see this once you start increasing the budgets, right? So the first thing to look at is really, do I have any ads that have like a high CPA that is just way too high, way above target, right? Those are the ones that I turn off. And do I have any ads that having like a very high CPC? And what I look at there is really like, try to have this example. And this is what I always teach people, right? So you have an ad, you know that your best ads have a CPC of, let's say, $2, right? And they convert at a certain rate. Now, if you test new creatives and all of a sudden the CPC is at like $4 or $5 or $6, this means the conversion rate also has to move up in the same rate. So let's say if it's normally $2 and now it's $4, this means your conversion rate has to be double, right? So you have to take this into account. And what I ask always is, if something has a super high CPC, what's the likelihood that the conversion rate all of a sudden triples? Very low, okay? So I'm not going to try to test it and give it more time if I already have better ads, okay? So basically just making sure you spend on the best ads. Second things, I analyze the frequency, okay? I try to understand what is the frequency of the creatives that I have running currently. One thing that I see a lot of times, especially when I do audits for ad accounts, for brands that just want to have a second opinion or want to join our mentorship, my mentorship, they oftentimes have a very high frequency, right? So when you look at, you can go into your ads manager, check what's the frequency over the last 7 days, over the last 30 days. If you're in like the 3, 4, 5, this is a very high frequency, meaning your ads just get shown to the same people over and over and over again, right? Which means this might be working at a certain spend level. This might be working, for some time, but then at some point you're just drying out the funnel, right? So there's no new people joining in your funnel. And this is a problem, and that's a main reason why when you try to scale your budgets, your return on ad spend goes down, right? Because you're just serving the same ads in front of the same people over and over and over again, right? And once the buyers are basically, like you basically squeezed out all the buyers of that funnel, there's nothing more to, nobody else to sell to, okay? So I understand and I basically check, okay, what's the frequency of the ads that are spending the most money, right? And if I see that the frequency is like way above 1.5 to 2, right? If this is over that, this is basically a lower funnel ad, or like a mid funnel ad, lower funnel ad. Everything that is below 1.5, 1.5 is actually already pretty high. The best case would be if you would have ads that are below a 1.1 or around a 1.1 when it comes to frequency. Okay, so those are the ads that make sure that you constantly get new people, fresh people into your ecosystem, so that other types of ads can then convert them, right? So this is a very important thing that most of the brands overlook or don't understand. And that's why you're just spending more money on the same people. So make sure that you look at the frequency column in your ads manager and try to understand what kind of ads do I have running. If you only have these kinds of ads running, then this is the problem. You cannot really scale more, right? So you need other types of ads that actually help you fill the funnel consistently while you're scaling. Yeah. Next thing, adjust the spend. You see, this is not the first thing that I did. Many people, they jump in and they just slash the whole budget, right? But this is not necessarily the best thing. You first need to optimize what's there, understanding what type of assets you have, and then I can make an informed decision on how much do I reduce the spend. Okay, so another thing that I look at before I jump into the budget column and just, you know, slash the budget is I want to understand how many ads do I have in the pipeline, like meaning basically in my testing campaign. If I have a lot of ads and they haven't gotten a lot of spend yet, and I just turned off some of the high spending, non-performing ads, then I don't really want to reduce the budget drastically. Right? Because I want to go through these tests quickly. I want to give the algorithm the chance to actually spend on all of these ad sets and all of these tests to determine a new winner and, you know, just make it possible to optimize stuff, right? So if I just reduce the budget all the way down to, I don't know, $150 when I was at $500 before, or let's say at 5K before, and now I reduce it to like 2K, and this means it's also going to take longer to test new creatives, okay? And this slows me down overall. If I don't have a lot of ads in the pipeline, meaning ready to test, then that's where I definitely reduce the budget. But even then, I would do it step by step, right? Because this ties into the next point that we have to look at, which is this here. Right? Those two are interconnected. Short term, what can I do in the short term? So this is something that you can do today, right? This is something that you can do immediately. This is just like red lights. Let's change something drastically today. Next thing is short term, right? Obviously, as you've seen here and here, most likely has to do with your creatives, right? So this is something that we can do easily and fix quickly. We want to produce low frequency ad creatives, right? So this is, if you remember, this is what I talked about here, right? So we need to produce creatives that are able to constantly pull in new people and at the same time convert directly, right? This is like, those are the ads that you put into your ad account and they directly change the trajectory of the whole account, right? Those are these types of ads. And usually those are like founder ads, for example, podcast ads from the founder, right? Like short 15-second or below 15-second, below 30-second video ads. Those are the ads that I see across the whole portfolio of like 20 brands to really perform really well when it comes to scale, right? Especially founder ads is something that you definitely cannot overlook. If for whatever reason you don't want to show your face, then go with these, right? Just analyze, go to ads libraries, use something like Atria. Also have videos on that on my channel to just find inspiration and then replicate that quickly. All within the winning angle. Very important. We don't want to just like freak out and like test a bunch of different stuff at the same time and basically start from zero, it's not the time to panic when you have this situation. Very important. No panic, right? We have a system and we just go through the steps step by step, and this is the way to improve the performance. So here, stay within the winning angle. If you don't have a winning angle, then watch another video on my channel. I have it in multiple videos where I explain how to find the winning angle, how to find winning creatives, essentially. Okay, so then after we've done this, obviously we test them, right? So we go through all of these things here. After that, we basically test them, right? And then it's important to continue to produce new ads and to continue to test them on a weekly basis. So one thing that really changed the game for multiple brands that were, let's say, in the low 7 figures and now are on the trajectory to being 8 figures or are 8 figures now, it's this year. It's just testing net new creatives every single week, right? And the minimum is 3. Depending on what the account needs, you can ramp this up, but this is really important that you push in new ad tests every single week, no matter what, right? And net new, what I mean by net new is this is excluding stuff like doing slight iterations of your winner and doing like testing a couple of different hooks. This is excluding that because that's something that, you know, that's super easy, right? This definitely has to be done. But here I'm talking about new, fresh, creative styles that are within your winning angle, right? So this way you make sure that you continuously feed the machine with ads that have top of funnel and high converting potential. And this is very important to just recover the whole performance and find winners quickly. Okay, so let's assume we have that. How do we make the offer better is the next point. So this is, as I said, those are very quick fixes. This is also a pretty quick fix, right? And then we get into the more, you know, long-term stuff. But another thing is to look at, okay, maybe people are already interested. They click your ads, like your CPC is fairly low, but you don't see a lot of people converting, right? In the rate that, you know, would make sense or would make the whole thing work. So what can you do? Very simple. You just make the offer so good that they will be stupid saying no. That's what I always say. It has to be so good that somebody from your target audience just cannot say no, right? And how do we do this? Very easily by increasing the perceived value while we're, you know, let's say having the same AOV. This is one thing that I would also, you know, say that's very crucial here is that your AOV is high enough, right? So if you have all of these problems and you solve all of this, but your AOV is still like you know, $30 or $40, then that's a huge bottleneck, right? So all of this will definitely help you, but it will not change the world because then you need a better and more high AOV offer, right? So make sure that you have a high AOV offer. Most of the cases I recommend between, you know, around $100. That's great, right? As a first-time AOV, or at least to get as close as possible to that, or even above that. And you do this by increasing the perceived value, right? So if the bundle costs $100, then the real value is $140, $150. Okay, and you do this by adding free gifts, for example, by doing a bundle, or you just do a price reduction for more of the same, right? If you only have one main product, you just sell more of the same. You give the option, instead of just purchasing one product, people can purchase 3 products or 6 products, right? And the more they buy, the more they save. Very simple, but trust me, people will gravitate towards the middle one, and all of a sudden you almost triple your AOV. Seen it time and time again. Very simple fix, right? Then another thing that you can do is reduce risk, which is basically the guarantee. Just give a guarantee, right? If you see that nobody's refunding your product and you have a 30-day standard guarantee, give 90 days, give 60 days, give 120 days, like whatever you want to give, as long as you help more people to, jump basically and say, okay, well, I'll just give it a try. I cannot lose anything. This is what you want them to say to themselves internally. Just give a better guarantee. Another thing, post-purchase upsells. Nothing to lose, very easy to implement. Zipify one-click upsell app is what I recommend here. And you just have, like I recently, actually this week, I looked at the results of a client of it's like a cleaning product e-commerce, and we implemented this one-click upsell. It literally took 5 minutes. We did it on the call like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. And now 10% of the people that purchase take this offer, which is like amazing, And this is just like an uplift for the AOV without any risks, okay? So that's another one. Okay, now that we've done all of these things, you should already be at a way better place, and you should have a way better trajectory because you're constantly pushing in new creatives and obviously learning from the results. But here, like your stress level should already be way lower than when we started, okay? So once we've done all of these things, we have to look at the whole situation. Even though we jumped the return on ad spend hole now, and we surpassed that, now we want to think of how can we make sure that this doesn't even happen, right? That we never even get to that point, okay? So then it becomes a little bit more complex, and these things take a little bit more time. That's why I put them here in long term. But those are the best ways that I currently know to make sure that you're avoiding these situations where you're running behind your return on ad spend, basically. 7, improve customer lifetime value. So here the task is to improve the customer, first of all, track the customer lifetime value after 60 days, 90 days, 180 days. So it's basically after somebody purchased, how much is what is their lifetime value, like their total sales on average after 60 days, after 90 days, after 180 days, right? First to look at this data and then think of how can let's say somebody purchases something for $100, right? After 60 days, the lifetime value of this, this person is $110, right? After 180 days, it's $120. So the idea now is how can I make them get to 120? How can I compress this? How can I make them get to 120 in 60 days instead of 180 days, right? And because this gets us the cash back quicker, right? And we can choose to reinvest this money, these profits into growth, or just keep the profits, right? And just be more relaxed, let's say, when it comes to fluctuations in the return on ad spend in the front end. So how do we do this? Refill offers, subscription offers, cross-sell offers, very straightforward, right? If your product gives you the ability to do it, offer a subscription, right? So having somebody subscribe to getting the product delivered automatically is the highest value customer that you can have, because you don't have to, remind them to purchase anything. You don't have to work to get the purchase. They just automatically purchase, right? So their lifetime value is significantly higher. So if you can do that, if you can offer a subscription, this is great. If your product doesn't really allow it, even though it might allow it, some people just never subscribe. Even though they love your product, they will never subscribe. So what I always tell people is make sure to offer like refill bundles, right? Or like bulk bundles where people can just buy, I don't know, like a 6-month supply or a 12-month supply, and they get bigger discounts, but they also purchase in high quantities, right? So this is perfect for everybody that doesn't want a subscription, but already knows he or she will purchase it all the time. So then they just, save on a bulk offer. Very simple, very easy. Plus cross sells, right? So maybe your product, solves one problem or one pain point, but then creates another one, which means like there's a next problem that that your customers have. So then this is the perfect next product to purchase, right? So here we're talking about basically doing the architecture of your customer journey, you could say, right? This is a little bit more high level, but that is the way to never get into this situation, okay? Or actually that it doesn't really bother you, even if you have like a couple of weeks where it doesn't, perform amazingly when it comes to the acquisition, which can happen, you don't really care because you already have like all of the backend running that is just hyper profitably. Okay, so all of this stuff is basically, best thing is to do it also automatically, right? So you have your email flows for certain segments. You maybe have specific campaigns that you're running only to these people, just to make sure that people purchase again. And another thing is obviously community. If you have like a very active community, this helps to, just have the people very close to the brand and kind of like identify with the brand and with the products. And those people also have like a way, way higher customer lifetime value. Okay, now we optimized or improved the customer lifetime value. What else to do? Well, what else is there to do? Other traffic sources. This is something that I don't recommend in the beginning because every new traffic source or every new channel is like a new construction site, right? So you need to dedicate a lot of time and effort to a certain channel until you can really maximize the channel and make it do what you need it to do for your business, for the bottom line. So, but still, at some point when you only rely on one channel, you're very dependent on that channel, and then when for whatever reason the performance in that channel is not that great, basically your whole business doesn't do well, right? So this is obviously what we don't want. So one very simple way is just to have like a very solid Google structure, right? That just captures all of the attention that we create on Meta, right? We're basically pushing with Meta and then we're pulling with Google, just to make sure that you have like a PMAX set up, that you have your brand campaign set up, very important, and that you just capture the attention as much as possible, because this, like every dollar spent here is obviously cheaper or more, has a higher ROI, than spending it on Meta, but these two can go really well together. Another one is just retarget on multiple other platforms, right? Just to make sure that if somebody has a touch point with you, wherever they go, they will have a reminder about your products, right? So this can be Google Display Network, this can be, TikTok, Pinterest, whatever platform there is. And second cold channel, that's the next thing, right? To establish a next cold channel alongside Meta. This could be Google, for example, that you build dedicated funnels for keywords. A little bit more complex, but once you crack that, very, very stable, very reliable. Or it could be something else like TikTok or native ads or that, these types of channels. Then another thing that I think also makes sense and will help you with the overall performance is to establish channels like influencers, right? Or let's say micro-influencer seeding, micro-influencer tactics, and just organic, right? So going viral on organic, basically, right? So this is not super reliable, but you can make it reliable by, making a lot of volume, essentially. So this is also a very effective strategy that you can use just to bring down the whole overall new customer CPA. All right, last thing, almost through, new products, right? This is also something that some brand owners have a hard time realizing that, because I know You're creating this product. I'm a brand owner myself. You create this product and you love the product. You think it's the greatest product in the world, but ultimately the market decides, right? So if we see, or if you see that you do all of these things, but you still struggle to get a consistent, target CPA, to get a consistent performance when it comes to acquisition, then it could be that it's your product, right? You don't advertise, either it's the angle, you don't advertise your product to the right people, or the product is just not hot enough for the market, right? Or there's not enough market demand. So then it's very wise, speaking of long term, to invest whatever profits you make here, to invest parts of that into finding new products, not only for your existing customers, but also to attract new customers, right? So to find basically products with better margins, right? That are more unique, that have a unique formula, right? That is not just a rip-off of something that's already out there, that are more sticky, speaking of customer lifetime value, just products that once people use them, they love them so much, they come back by themselves, basically. And the last thing is basically products that solve a stronger pain point. It's very easy, but again, this makes it easier to advertise to the people, because then you know there's a hungry crowd, right? There's people that really need the product and they're desperate to try out a new solution. If you have a new mechanism, a unique mechanism, unique formulation, and you have the right margin structure, this can be an easier way to acquire new people than just biting your teeth out, trying to make something work that doesn't really have potential to work. Okay, that's basically it. This is how you can fix low return on ad spend. We went over immediate actions. You can do them right after the video. Then you can jump into the short-term actions. Again, check out the other videos on my channel for this, on how to find the winning angle, how to produce multiple creatives per week, and then also already start thinking about the long-term game. Maybe you have another product in your portfolio that is actually smarter to advertise, okay? Now, if you need help with all of this, or you just want, let's say, the fast track, I'm working with brands that are 7 figures and I help them go 8 figures without having to hire an agency, right? Basically, to be able to manage all of this in-house. Also this part where we look at, we analyze what's going on in your business, what is actually the best product to advertise, how can you come up with new product formulations. So this is more the future stuff. But this is what I help brands with, and I've helped many brands now successfully get to multiple 7 figures and then also 8 figures. I'm an 8-figure brand owner by myself, so this is what I do in my mentorship, many other things obviously. But if you need help there, if you want somebody that mentors you, that just helps your team get smarter and do all of these things in-house, then just click the link below, and we'll see if it's a fit for you and for me, and if we can scale together. So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments, and see you on the next one. Bye bye.